Atiku was the former vice president of Nigeria. He was later accused of a lot of corrupt cases. If you look at the former minister of transportation, was a minister in Buhari's government for 8 years. But let us ask him, what did he achieve as a minister? He couldn't build a light rail in the Federal Capital Territory, a light rail that can connect just the 6 area councils. He couldn't do that as a minister. So what is he coming back to do as a president if he couldn't achieve that as a minister? So if we take Rauf Aregbesola, he was Minister for Interior. What did he achieve as a Minister of Interior? Couldn't even make us part of our Nigerian passport. So if he comes back as president, what do you think he's going to achieve? So they are only a bunch of failures. They are not good examples to young Nigerians. So we had a president that has just ruled for 2 years and we have a lot of achievements that he has achieved. So why would you want to throw the good water away? There are no threats. They are just making noise. And I believe that by the time Mr. President completes his 4 years, there will be no question about his 2027 ambition.
All right, welcome. It is Speak to Base. And today we're speaking on the role of pressure group in helping form leadership in society and sustain democratic culture. I've got a guest who will be helping me understand and get a better perspective of it tonight. So let's get into the conversation. I'd like to make welcome Francis Oluwatosin. Shoga, welcome.
Thank you very much.
So let's understand, looking at our democratic experiment since the Fourth Republic started till date, let's go back a bit and understand how much have people like pressure group come together to help people say they identify leadership and say, this is the direction we are heading to.
Yes, if you look at since we became a democratic government, a lot of pressure groups have been instrumental to the democratic government that Nigeria enjoyed since 1999. And if you also look at a lot of political parties that played critical roles then, they fought for democracy and they were able to take the government from military government that we had then. So I think a lot of political groups have been able to play a critical role in bringing a democratic government to Nigeria today since the inception of our democracy.
So in essence, for a leadership, leaders do not just emerge. It requires a people to stand behind that leader to say, you are the one who would represent our aspirations and our vision as a society or as a group.
Yes, if you look at there are leadership qualities. So there are a lot of people that possess such qualities, and when the subordinates see such qualities in such leaders, they rally around such leaders and make sure they push them to get whatever the group is advocating for. So we have a lot of leaders that can influence a lot of things and also have different types of leadership, which you know. So depending on the type of leadership that the subordinate sees in that leader, they will certainly align and make sure they put the pressure to make sure they get whatever they want to achieve as a group.
Now, that's look like a fitting place for us to also bring out the other cap you wear sitting on this role today. We understand you're the DG of the City Boys movement. So I also would like to, using that as one of a test case to understand leadership emergence in society. So walk us through, for example, in the City Boy movement. It has been around for a long time. So walk us through what the City Boy movement is all about, as it tends to help pick leadership in society.
Yes, the City Boy movement is a pressure group that supported President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to get into power during the last election. And why we supported President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is that we saw the type of leadership that can move Nigeria to be to the next level, to where every Nigerian has dreamt, to where every other civilized country is today. So we believe that, okay, there is a man that had that vision. So we as a movement rally around President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to promote his previous achievement, especially what he did in Lagos State as when he was the governor of Lagos State. He was able to transform the economy of Lagos State into a private sector driven economy that does not depend on government. And we see that economy became the largest economy in West Africa. So we see that with the kind of economic problem Nigeria is going through, there is only one man that had that experience. That had the experience to turn the Nigerian economy as a whole into a world-place economy. So that is why those are the ideals and the beliefs that we had in the City Boy movement. So we decided to promote such initiatives of Mr. President. And at the end of the day, God helped us, and because he became Mr. President today and is doing the work as we expected.
So for such movement and pressure group, because we know that even if it's a pressure group, there must be people behind it. So which leads us to helping to understand who are the conveners of this City Boy movement.
Now, the City Boy movement is led by the president's son, our grand patron, Mr. Seyi Tinubu. While I'm the Director General of the group, I see to the day-to-day runnings of the group. And we believe, Mr. Seyi Tinubu's belief is that young people can be whatever they want to be. And we have taken it upon ourselves to make sure that we create leaders for tomorrow. We place leaders, we support people to be leaders in their society. So as long as you believe in the ideals of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, we as a group will make sure that we stand behind you as a young man to get to wherever you want to get to attain any leadership position you want to attain, whether it's at the local government level or at the state government level or at the federal government level. So that is what the City Boy stands for.
So because most times when people hear the City Boy, they feel it's something like it's about youths, but it tends to want to make people ask, won't the youths themselves also want to be in leadership position? But then you have alluded to it that it is a movement also making up young and old persons. So
the City Boy movement came around from young people like Mr. Seyi Tinubu that believe in the ideals of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that saw the kind of work that Mr. President did in Lagos State when he was governor of Lagos State. For example, we saw the young men in his cabinet that became very powerful men in the country. For example, now we have the former Minister of Work, Babatunde Fashola, who was in the cabinet at a very young age and was able to attain his dream. So we believe that for Mr. President to be able to empower such people, we must also promote those ideals within young men, that you can be whatever you want to be. No matter how young you are, you can take a leadership role in the country.
So which leads me to mandates. There are mandates for every group, and there's a purpose and a mission. So for the City Boy movement, is it just one core mandate of helping the president stay in power or return to power?
So we promote the ideals and the achievement and initiatives of Mr. President. For example, look at the economic reforms that has been done by Mr. President. So we educate people on such economic reforms. And we also make sure that young people take leadership roles. And thirdly, we also ensure that we bridge the gap between the grassroots and the government policies for people to be able to understand what policies Mr. President is driving and how young people can participate in such initiatives.
Now that let's just explore a little bit on that aspect in terms of trying to help people understand the president's policy or a leadership policy. So from that angle, let's look at it from the president having been in office since 2023. Now it's been over 2 years in office. Looking at it, what would you be able to say, and why has it been very, in sort of a way, people need explanation to see the lofty visions and the achievement of Mr. President?
So let me take you back. We've had a lot of presidents since we got our democratic government in 1999. And since 1999, Nigeria has gone through a lot. For example, look at during President Muhammadu Buhari, Nigeria went through the COVID-19 pandemic. And at the same time, we went through fall in the crude oil prices, which the economy suffered a lot to survive those 8 years. So President Muhammadu Buhari pushed the economy to survive two powerful economic breakdown, the COVID-19 and the fall in the price of crude oil. Whereas they did not understand that you cannot be subsidizing fuel at the same time you are struggling through those economic policies you are going through. There will be no development, because where are you going to get the funds to run the economy? But President Bola Ahmed Tinubu understands that for Nigeria to move forward as a country, the first thing we need to do is to remove those bottlenecks, which is the fuel subsidy and floating of the foreign exchange, and which it did immediately. And immediately that was done, we saw the economy growing at a massive rate. Nigeria was able to pay the IMF loan. Nigeria became a country that a lot of FDIs were willing to come into. And we saw the number of FDIs that came into Nigeria within the 2 years. So looking at those achievements economically, and also looking at the massive infrastructure development taking place across Nigeria as a whole. For example, look at Lagos State. We have the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road. We also have different coastal roads coming up, and a lot of internal roads at the same time are coming up. So we see that Nigeria has been able to get more funding to fund infrastructure through Mr. President's initiatives. And if you see a president that can achieve infrastructure, I believe that we are going to get the type of Nigeria that we all deserve. We are going to get a Nigeria that will compete with other countries in the world. And with this, you also saw Mr. President going around building foreign economic ties with a lot of countries. He is in Brazil now. And you saw the testimony from the Ministry of Aviation, where our local industries have been able to partner with a lot of aviation companies in Brazil right now. So a lot of developments are coming up. A lot of achievements are coming up with the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So I believe in the next 2 years, the economic hardship is going to be suppressed, and we're going to have the kind of Nigeria we all dream for.
Okay, it is still Speak with Base, and we're looking at the issues of pressure group helping leadership emerge and also helping to push the agenda of government. And our guest is the DG of the City Boys movement and Oluwatosin Shoga here. So I understand a while ago you talked about the different reforms that the president is making and how your group is making efforts to also help Nigerians understand it. So I believe that you've been reaching out and you're speaking to people. When you speak to Nigerians, the man out there on the street, and when you reach out to that woman in the marketplace, when you speak to them, all of these lofty things you talked about, like removal of subsidy, how it was necessary, and the unification of the foreign exchange. How do they take it? And do they still say, no, it doesn't translate to Gary and beans somewhere in their pot for them?
So the problem with Nigerians as a whole is we are very good people. We are very patient people. But sometimes we are impatient to see results of very difficult decisions. So when we engage with people, a lot of Nigerians still complain about them struggling through or surviving through the economy. But if we are patient, in a very short while, we will see the impact of those initiatives. And also, a lot of Nigerians do not even know how to participate in the initiatives of government. We sit back, we watch television, but we don't take action. So that is part of what we are educating people on, educating Nigerians on that. Yeah. For example, the Federal Ministry of Youth had 846 initiatives to engage with young Nigerians. For example, look at the NEL Fund. The NEL Fund cut across every young Nigerian in university, but a lot of them did not apply, and they were still complaining about education. You understand me? About financing their education. So we went to Owerri the last time. We were in a small stakeholders meeting. At that stakeholders meeting, we were able to showcase a lot of those initiatives, and Nigerians were shocked that does this really exist? And a lot of them were able to participate in expressing interest for some of those initiatives, and we got good testimonies of people that have been benefited from those programs. So we encourage Nigerians to read more, to listen more, and also not to sit back. They should try to be involved in leadership roles. If you sit back, you will not know what the government is doing. You keep complaining. So every young Nigerian must get involved. So that's part of what the City Boy movement is doing now.
I hear you on that, but I also want to speak to this. I would like you to also speak to this part of it, which is it would seem like the work to be done by the City Boys movement, which is your pressure group, there's a whole lot of work to be done. It means more persons need to reach out there and go into the nooks and crannies to begin to explain this message. You need to recruit more boots on ground.
So, yes, that is why we are seeking for support of the media. We are seeking for support of Nigerian artists that can work with government and help to promote the good initiatives of Mr. President and help to educate more people. Because the media is very powerful. We saw what young people are doing on the social media. A lot of young people are wasting that social media space to do thoughtful things. So we need to educate people to promote Mr. President's initiatives and also to encourage the Nigerian government to also do a massive campaign on the achievement of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, so that a lot of Nigerians will be aware and also be educated on the achievements in 2 years.
Now, this is 2025, and we're gradually winding down. By next month, it's Ember, and then before you know it, the Independent National Electoral Commission would, blow the whistle and lift the embargo, and politics will start proper. But even before that, we understand the continuous voter registration is ongoing, and that is one of the critical aspects of being able to participate in the 2027 general election. So what would your group be trying to do in terms of reaching out to people, in terms of participating in this ongoing exercise?
So we have focal persons in all 774 local governments. And if you watch the social media, you see most of our members are already educating Nigerians on reason why they must get their PVC. Because that is the only way you can protect a government that is working. If you don't get your PVC, you will not be able to defend that government. So we need more people on our side. We need more people on our side. So we are educating everybody in every local government to go out there, get their INEC registration, and be ready to vote come next election.
When you look at the coalition, let's even delve into coalition and how your own pressure group is looking out to respond, because it's not going to be a smooth sail in 2027 because of the emerging forces already regrouping. Just backtail into from Oyo, we already understand that the PDP had already said they are zoning to the southern part of the country, the presidential ticket. And we understand the ADC too, they are ready. The former vice president is already there, and there's a gathering there. So doesn't that bother your City Boys movement that, look, there's another movement that is really going to be a force that you guys have to contend with?
So let me take Nigerians back, and I will use examples of members of those coalitions. Most of them have been in government offices for at least 8 years. Any one of them, if you look at the former Minister of Transportation, was a minister in Buhari's government for 8 years. But let us ask him, what did he achieve as a minister? He couldn't build a light rail in the Federal Capital Territory, a light rail that can connect just the six area councils. He couldn't do that as a minister. So what is he coming back to do as a president if he couldn't achieve that as a minister? So if we take Rauf Aregbesola, he was Minister for Interior. What did he achieve as a Minister of Interior? He couldn't even make our Nigerian passport proud, make us part of our Nigerian passport. So if he comes back as president, what do you think he's going to achieve? So there are only a bunch of failures. So Nigerians, there is precedent. We saw what they did in previous government. Atiku was the former vice president of Nigeria. He was later accused of a lot of corrupt cases. So while they are not good examples to young Nigerians. So we had a president that has just ruled for 2 years, and we have a lot of achievement that he has achieved. So why would you want to throw the good water away? So you can't throw the good water away for the bad water. So there are no threats. They're just making noise. And I believe that by the time Mr. President completes his 4 years, there will be no question about his 2027 ambition.
Now, for that one person who's watching now and who you would meet across the street, and he asks and he says, why do you think we should give President Bola Tinubu a second chance with what we've seen in this first tenure already? For example, they will be quick to point out that how they can't, the insecurity in the country is really taking its toll with different areas like Plateau, the other parts of the country, Benue, and all of that, being able to tame it. And that in itself, aren't you worried that security would form a major cross of what your movement would be having to explain to Nigerians, in terms of helping to understand why they should re-elect the president in 2027?
So you must, first of all, look at the body language of Mr. President when he's responding to security issues. So we have the forest guard that has been approved to go to the forest and make sure the forest is secured. You see, we have had presidents that should have taken that initiation, those initiations in a very long time ago. They never did. The only way you can protect a community is creating guards that will protect guards from that same community that will understand the people that live there. And Mr. President has taken a decision. He has signed the bill of the forest guard. So I believe with the forest guard, in short time, a lot of security issues will be addressed because they are working with other government agencies. I'm not saying that the forest guard is going to have the kind of equipment that the Nigerian Army has. If you also look at the Nigerian Army itself, Nigerian Army is being equipped every day. We are having a lot of weaponry coming in for the Army, and the Army has also been having a lot of results in the Northeast in also covering such issues. If you saw what happened in Benue the last time, Mr. President went to Benue himself, and he directed the Inspector General of Police to investigate into the killings that happened in Benue. And to everybody's dismay, people were arrested. Nobody has ever been arrested before when people were killed. So for Mr. President to be taking such bold decisions, I believe that the enemies of Nigerians are going to get scared and they are going to run far by the time the government completes its 4 years. So I believe there is future. Nigerians are going to go back to farms because with the pace that Mr. President is going now, I believe that food production will also come out massively from those farms. So let us just be patient with the government. We have a president that understands how the economy should work.
So which takes me back to the president's electoral promises, his campaign promises he talked about before he was elected. And because you are, the DG of the City Boys movement, walk us through now that, you would have to speak to people on the president's promises. Would you, as you sit on this chair, be able to say the president has been able to deliver on his electoral promises?
So one of his promises was that he was going to do infrastructure that Nigerians had never seen before, and people laughed when he made that promise. He also made the promise of the NEL Fund. He said it before his election, and NEL Fund is happening now. For example, look at the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road. That is a world-class project that any president in Nigeria has never thought of. And if you know what that project is going to do to Nigeria, it's going to connect a lot of states together. So it's going to bring a lot of state economy together to connect with Lagos State. And I'm sure from that road, we are going to generate a lot of revenue for the government and also create economic development at every local government that road is passing through. So for a president to have that kind of foresight, you should see that, and you should see that he had already planned these things, these promises before he came to government, and immediately he came to government, things are taking place. So let's be patient. Let's watch. By the time he finishes his 4 years, we will see the kind of development that we're going to have in Nigeria.
Which brings me to, just before we let that question slide, which is also relating to, because you mentioned infrastructure, and some persons would say the infrastructure, you as the City Boys movement, and you're speaking in terms of leadership emergence, and looking at the relevance of some of this project. People say, why not fix the roads already existing, and then instead of creating new ones like the Lagos Calabar you talked about?
So if you look at the Lagos coastal line, is one of the natural resources that we have not been tapping into. The number of foreigners that will come into the country because of the Atlantic Ocean. So you creating that road, you are creating economic development, you are creating economic wealth. So for you to have that kind of thinking, you understand what a developed country is. So Mr. President understand how to create wealth. And with that Lagos-Calabar Express Road, I believe that Nigeria is going to generate trillions by the time that road is completed, and also create the largest economic activity across the road.
So let's, as we wind down our conversation, now the president will be needing a second term, but is yet to speak about it. But is that something you, as a movement, you're willing to, if you want to pressure the president to accept to run for a second term in office?
Yes, Mr. President is coming back 2027, whether we like it or not. Because Nigeria has never experienced the kind of president we have today. This is a president that can communicate with the people. People understand what the president is telling you. People understand the kind of leadership he's promoting. People understand Nigeria better now than ever before. No president communicates with people. So why would you want to lose that kind of president and look for someone that has been in office that has not achieved anything? So let us rally around. Let's make sure Mr. President come back 2027, which we have been telling people. City Boy Movement has promised President 10 million votes during the election. And I'm sure that we are going to generate this road.
So I know you smile, but you laugh because I definitely, since you've just, I would have to take you up on that. How do you intend to achieve such a lofty idea of 10 million votes and link that up to what I had asked earlier on, asking the voter registration is currently ongoing. And so how do you really intend to achieve that, knowing that there is an apathy in terms of people saying, you know what, votes, will it really count, and things they say even on election day?
So we have been promoting Mr. President's initiatives in every local government in Nigeria. And the kind of turnout that we're having, the kind of people coming to our camp from other parties is very, very massive. And I'm sure that no other political party is experiencing such at this particular time. If we also look at the National Assembly, we have a lot of defections into APC. So the same way in every local government, we are making sure we are educating people on the initiative of Mr. President, and also make sure that we are getting them involved in some of those initiatives. Though we might not be able to give everyone, but at least we'll make sure some of them are benefactors of those initiatives. So by seeing is believing. By the time they see one of them benefiting from such initiatives, they were going to give us their maximum support. So in that way, we are sure of mobilizing 10 million votes for Mr. President.
Now, 4 years, some persons may say it's really very a short time, knowing that, we are, it was just yesterday, people cast their vote, 2023, and then here we are, by the time we're done with 2026, we're looking at 2025, we're looking into 2026, and then the next thing is 2027 already for elections. So one is asking, so what are some of those in your fair assessment, now looking at it and saying, these are the reasons why, these are sectors that would take more than 2 tenures if you are to make a case based on development issues, things that would require more than, a term to work on to make a case for the president's second coming.
So let me shock you. If you want to know the most difficult sector in the economy is infrastructure, because it takes time to get infrastructure anywhere. If you want to build Lagos, the Third Mainland Bridge, it will take you 5 years. But look at Lagos, Calabar, Kusaro. Look at the number of projects that Ministry of Work had commissioned in 2 years. It has never happened in the history of Nigeria. So once Mr. President can solve the problem of infrastructure, which is the most difficult one, and also payment of the IMF loan in 2 years. So you see that this is a serious president. So whether it's 4 years or 2 years, it doesn't matter to Mr. President than for him to achieve his electoral promises, which he is doing. And I'm sure by the time he completes that 4 years, we Nigerians will beg Mr. President for the other 4 years. Because you can see what's going on in the international scene. You have seen Mr. President building foreign ally and foreign relationship with different countries, and they are welcoming him. And those investments are also showing and having impact in our economy. You saw what the former Minister of Finance said about the economy, that the economy is in the right direction. And you remember she was the first person that made a cry when we had a fall in oil prices, that even we don't save for tomorrow, we might not have anything again. That's Dr. Okojo-Iweala. She went on TV. She even told the president then, President Goodluck Jonathan, she said it openly. And for her to come back again and say that the economy of Nigeria is in the right direction. So you should see that Mr. President is doing a very good job. So all we need from you Nigerians is patience and your support. We also need you to also participate in the government at every locality that you are, at everywhere you are. Make sure you are involved in this government. So that is my message for Nigerians tonight.
All right. Well, that's where we'll leave it eventually. But we know that in the course of time, we would also have to get the city boys with you, the DG, coming back to let us know how it's going and brief us more so that Nigerians will know. Because in the course of our conversation, you have talked about how we need how the media can partner and get issues across. So that's one of those commitments we're extracting from you, leaving this conversation. But anyway, this is the size of Speak to Base. My name is Omashaye Ashenua, and I've been speaking with Francis Oluwatosin Shoga. Thank you for your time.